First sunrise of 2025. It's a little bit disappointing. Got some low clouds out there, but I don't think that they're going to be doing a whole lot for us. It's pretty thick on the horizon, and just the positioning between the clouds, the island, I don't think it's going to work. But yeah, didn't primarily come out here to shoot seascapes or shoot sunrise. I actually came out here to try and shoot a different shot for landscapes, but that one I don't think it's gonna work out. And I came out here for the off chance that we could photograph some wildlife photography. So let's head over to that spot and we'll kind of set up camp over there and just see what happens. But in this video, I wanted to kind of recap what happens in 2024 and kind of set some goals, set some precedents for my photography for this YouTube channel going forward into 2025. Oh. We might get lucky. So this is one of my favorite spots to photograph, the beautiful, iconic mountain of Kualoa. That mountain range is just incredible. But if you look in the water right here, you got one small, teeny tiny little bird, and that is the Hawaiian stilt, or the Ai'o. And these guys like to fish over here. So if we're quiet and if we're lucky enough, we might be able to get a photograph of some Ai'o. But the problem with photographing the Ai'o is they're extremely territorial birds. So if they see, I'm pretty sure he already caught a glimpse of us, but if they see humans, if they see other birds, they start making some really loud chirping noises and they fly away, essentially, because they're very territorial. They like their own space. They're kind of like me, kind of like photographers. We don't want to be around any other people. So that's what makes getting a shot of them so difficult. But in Native Hawaiian culture, the Ai'o were seen as one of the physical manifestations of the war god Ku. It's no wonder they are so territorial in their nature. I'm gonna try and see if this one is gonna allow me to kind of hang out a little bit. I wanna try and get up to this spot, but I'm just hesitant to approach the Ai'o. Oh, see? Oh no, he didn't fly away yet. I'm just hesitant to kind of approach him just right now. But I'd totally be fine with hanging back here, throwing on the 600mm and seeing if we can get a shot. Because I don't think the landscape shot is gonna look anything crazy today. It's probably not gonna be light for a good half an hour after sunrise. Yeah, I think we gotta hang out back here and just try and see if the Ai'o allows us to photograph it from kind of the brush that's over here. Try and get my tripod in the right spot, but hang on, let me get myself set up here. Ugh. A1 Mark II. Having the 2x teleconverter is probably going to be essential for this shot, especially if the bird allows us to get close to it. But all right, let's try it. Yeah, when the lighting is this dark, I really can only take video. The stills just don't come out super great at 12,800 ISO. Overall, I think this past year, 2024, might have been the best photographic year of my career in terms of like landscape, astro, that kind of thing. We traveled a whole bunch this year, not just inter-island, but a couple of mainland trips, one international trip. So definitely feel like that helped us out a lot in terms of like us having the best photographic year. I guess I really did a great job of like, I don't know what the word is, but like mastering or perfecting, or those are both not the best words, but maybe executing. Yeah, executing is the better word. But this year I feel like I did a really good job of executing a lot of my landscape and astrophotography goals. And I'll kind of explain a little bit further once I'm done filming this guy here. He's a goner. I think he flew away. Oh well, we'll just kind of sit here and chat for now, I guess. Anyways, so like, if you think about like the trips that we did, the places that we visited, the shots that we got over the past year, I mean, for example, our first big photography trip was to like Yosemite National Park and revisiting a lot of spots in Utah. Well, all of those places we visited before. We visited Yosemite. When we got there, I was blown away by Yosemite's beauty, but unfortunately there wasn't waterfalls. So the goal was to come back and experience Yosemite at its best when we got all of those waterfalls, those rainbow shots, and the clear conditions definitely worked out in our favor. And if we think about like the Utah trip, one of the goals the first time we ever visited Utah was to photograph the Temple of the Sun and Moon in Capitol Reef National Park. But the first time we were there, we were stopped by the river in the middle of the night, couldn't cross the river because we didn't have a four-wheel drive. Well, this time going back, we made sure we got the four-wheel drive, we made sure we got to the Temple of the Sun and Moon, even if we didn't have to cross a river. We still got a nice clear sky for us to shoot Milky Way, and we were able to pull off that shot as well. And again, on our solo trip to Oregon, it wasn't the first time where we visited Mount Hood, it wasn't the first time that we were on the South Oregon coast, but being able to revisit those spots, photograph the Milky Way over Mount Hood and photograph the Milky Way alongside the Oregon coast, it's just the theme of what happened in 2024, which was plan, prepare, execute, you know, envision a shot that you have in mind and get out there in the right place in the right time and execute that shot. And if somebody were to ask me like what my favorite aspect of photography would be, like from, I guess, these 5 things, like the pre-visualization, the planning, the actual shooting and photographing process, like in the fields kind of stuff, or the editing, post-processing, or the posting and sharing, I think I definitely would have to pick like the pre-visualization or the planning side of things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being out here in the field and out here in Mother Nature, but honestly, unless the conditions are super, super crazy, I don't think I'm like the most outdoorsy person in the world, but I definitely can appreciate it when the conditions align. But yeah, when you have an idea of a shot that you want to get out here in Mother Nature and you pre-visualize it, you get inspired, you do your research, you plan, you make sure you're in the right place in the right time. I think it's the like anticipation and the excitement that I get from that whole process that is the thing that I really, really like about landscape photography. And when things come together in the fields after you've done all of that homework, there really is no greater feeling in landscape photography for me, personally. I thought all the little birdies ran away, so I came up, packed up all my stuff, but actually they're still there. Ugh. There's like 3 of them. So I'm trying to see if I can get myself a little bit closer. It's a little bit brighter, so we might be able to grab a shot of them if they somehow make their way back over here. Yeah, I think they are. All right, all right. Good call to move. Oh my God, they're getting so close. Comes to like a YouTube standpoint and a content creation standpoint, I feel like I definitely have improved in my comfort level of being in front of the camera instead of behind the camera. I definitely feel more comfortable still behind the camera, but I see like the value and I appreciate the art of being in front of the camera a lot more this past year. Not just from making travel vlogs and gear reviews. I feel like both of those things have definitely improved a lot this past year just because we've done it a lot. But just the overall quality of my vlogs I feel like has improved a lot, especially my astrophotography vlogs for sure. I think because we did so much astro last year, that improvement in making like extreme low light photography vlogs has definitely improved, and I really am proud of myself for making big leaps and jumps in terms of like video quality this year. So it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows though. This past year I did have a brief, I guess, month-long run of like burnout from photography, mostly because of the fact that we weren't traveling and it was towards the tail end of Milky Way season, so there really wasn't a whole lot to shoot. So I was kind of like left here, stuck on Oahu, wondering what it was that I was going to end up photographing, and just like kind of this overall feeling of like emptiness and dread and like, oh my God, I gotta go out and take some pictures, or I gotta go out and film a YouTube video this week, that kind of thing. But I think the spark that reignited my photography was wildlife photography, and I guess another improvement in my this past year was like the improvement of my wildlife photography setup. I mean, definitely getting the 300mm G Master, the Alpha 1 Mark II, those are all things that definitely improved my wildlife photography. And because of that, because of those very expensive purchases, it really sparked again my interest in wildlife photography. I mean, on a day like this, under normal circumstances for landscape photography, I would have packed it up, gone home, left disappointed, but instead, because we are, I guess, a little bit more focused and a little bit more open-minded about the possibility of shooting wildlife as well, we're out here enjoying our time in flat lighting, getting some pretty, I hope, decent shots of the Hawaiian stilt. And you know, it's overall just, it just is an enjoyable experience, still being able to get shots even though the lighting isn't necessarily working out. I think that was a big lesson that I learned from getting back into wildlife photography. I don't know if they're gonna come back. Oh, I gotta stand up, my back is getting sore. Talk about physical toll of landscape photography and nursing on the body. Oh man, that's tight. And my butt is of course all wet from all of the wet grass that we're sitting on right now. It says the rain is supposed to be coming in 44 minutes. Well, the shot that I wanted to go for here for like landscapes is a shot of course, this iconic mountain peak, but I wanted there to be a rainbow. If the rain is coming in 44 minutes and the sun pops its head out, we might be in for a treat. But at the same time, I don't see any sign that the sun is gonna pop out this way. And I don't see any signs of rain over here as of yet. But maybe I should get my stuff ready just in case. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Gotta get the CPL. Yep. All right, so I wanna get this shot, but I don't wanna operate my camera in the rain. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this camera up for a time lapse, throw the rain cover on top of the camera, and open up the camera's aperture to something like f4. Basically shoot wide open. That way I can take a time lapse, that way I don't have to operate the camera in the rain, and hopefully shooting at f4 will allow our aperture to be nice and wide. And if the water droplets do end up on the front element, hopefully they'll be out of focus essentially and not impact the photo as much as if I was shooting, let's say something like f8 or f11. All right, let's see if that works out. Let's talk about goals that we have for this upcoming year of 2025. The first goal, I think for me personally, is I want to shoot less. And I always tell myself this every single year. I'm like, I shoot way too much. I'm carrying way too much camera gear into the field. I need to kind of minimize things. I need to minimize the amount of stuff that I'm bringing into the field, as well as try not to go out and shoot as much, because even to this day, I'm still working through backlogs that I've had from previous years and digging up really high quality photos and videos that I've taken and posting them on Instagram and whatever, just kind of like a random post here and there. But I feel like I shoot way too much and don't output as much as I should. Now, it's kind of contradictory, because another one of my goals for this next upcoming year is to edit less. I mean, my body physically can't sit at a desk for very long. Oh, here comes the rain. I feel the rain now. Come on, rainbow. I need you. let me get into a more sheltered area, or let me at least get my gear into a more sheltered area, and then we can finish off this point. Ah. Whew. Well, the good news is the rain is coming this way, so it's hitting the back of the camera, so hopefully the lens or the front element will stay dry. But yeah, doesn't it look like there's no light that's gonna come out? I mean, if we just get a sliver of light, then this whole scene is gonna look epic with a rainbow. But as of right now, it just looks like a big, gigantic waste of time. Yeah, I'm so backlogged with content that I don't really need to necessarily go out and shoot every single day on my days off. There are times where I can pull it back, take a break, that kind of thing. And on those times where I do end up going out and shoot, I want to try and maximize the efficiency and make the most of every time I go out to shoot. Like out here today, we're shooting this video, our goals for 2025, but I'm also gonna be shooting another video on top of this. So it's like maximizing efficiency so I don't have to go out later on this week. I can kind of rest and recharge and just kind of get through all of that footage. And like I mentioned earlier, my aging body can only take so much abuse. So the less time I spend with the heavy camera bag on my back, the better it is overall. And the less time I spend sitting stagnant at my editing desk, the better it is overall. So that's kind of goal number one from like a photography standpoint. I just want to go out with a purpose, go out with a vision in mind, and not just go out willy-nilly shooting any kind. And after all of the gear experiments that we did this year, testing the Nikon, testing the A7C Mark II, getting this new wildlife setup, the Alpha One Mark II, all that kind of thing, I kind of want to transition my channel kind of away from the gear review videos. Now, gear review videos are popular on Instagram. It's maybe why you subscribe to this channel in the first place, because I review a lot of camera gear. But I personally feel like I haven't made a lot of content with any true like depth and storytelling this particular year. Now, there are those videos that I did make. The Switzerland vlogs were one. The Utah road trip definitely had some depth to it, as I was, I guess, kind of talking about my travels and my lessons that I learned from traveling in those videos, on top of doing some photography education as well. But I definitely feel like I want my content to just have more depth, have more meaning to it. I want to be able to tell more strong stories, if that makes sense. The gear review videos aren't going to completely go away from this channel, but I definitely want to, I guess, incorporate those gear reviews into a more broader and more deep story, if that makes sense. So I want to try and see if I can creatively do more of that type of content this year. And you know, there's a part of me that also wants to explore telling more Hawaiian folklore stories, like the one about Pele and Ohia and Lehua last week. I grew up here in Hawaii learning about these beautiful locations, learning about the birds, the animals, the plants through these Hawaiian folklore stories. So I want to be able to, I guess, what is the word? Tell these stories to you guys in a way that's number one, articulate. And I want to be able to share these stories with all of you guys in order to, I guess, help you build a deeper relationship and a deeper appreciation for the subjects that we're photographing, and just overall, just, yeah, again, sharing a more deeper experience, a more valuable experience, something that's not so surface level. And as some of you guys know, I work as a ICU nurse in one of our hospitals here on Oahu, so no New Year's resolution video would be complete without the mention of at least things from a health standpoint. I want to improve both my physical strength to be able to lift all this heavy camera gear that I have, as well as my cardiovascular fitness to be able to take this heavy camera gear out into Mother Nature and to be able to hike further, to travel further, that type of thing. So those things I definitely want to focus more on this year. And again, instead of shooting and editing so much, I want to be able to improve both my physical fitness and cardiovascular fitness as well. And as I mentioned previously, this year was a lot more of like the planning and executing type of thing, but there really wasn't too much of like the awe-inspiring and inspirational type of experiences for me when it came to landscape photography. Like I didn't explore a whole lot of new locations, both here, as well as on our travels, we kind of just revisited places. So I definitely want to go into this year, and I've already kind of initiated this process with planning trips this year. But I want to try and see if we can travel and visit new locations and be inspired once again, instead of just focusing on like the planning and fine-tuning and executing and all of that. While that is fun and great, I feel like my inspiration bucket is running a little bit low. So hopefully the trips that we have planned this year and the shoots even that we have planned here on Oahu, hopefully those things can kind of inspire us once again and eventually get us into the mood of being able to plan and execute. But ideas are running low for me right now, so I want to put myself in a position to be inspired once again. And another thing on the bucket list this year is to see the aurora. I missed the solar maximum this year, both in May as well as that big storm that we had. I think it was like in October or November. And I think there's one going on right now, and I'm stuck here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, furthest possible point away from any aurora lights whatsoever. So we have a couple of trips planned that will hopefully provide us with the opportunity to finally see the aurora and northern lights for the first time in our lives. Well, I don't think the rainbow is happening. What a big waste of time from a landscape photography standpoint. But hopefully this video was at least a little bit helpful to, I guess, give you guys an idea of what a photographer and a YouTuber's New Year's resolution would look like. I encourage all of you guys, if you are a photographer, content creator, or, you know, even with your own personal life, definitely take the opportunity with this new year to look at your process and look at which ways you can improve on and set goals. You should be doing this year round, but I think the new year is a time to definitely be inspired to really look maybe a little bit deeper and try and see if you can make improvements and changes to your lives for the better. I appreciate all of the support that I've gotten over this past year. This YouTube channel is growing slowly, but it's still growing nonetheless. So I definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in every single week to watch these videos, no matter if I post like a gear review video or a travel video or anything like that. I just genuinely appreciate all of your support. With that being said, I know I said I wasn't going to make a whole lot of gear review videos. No new year would be complete without a what's in my camera bag video, so stay tuned next week for that video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this type of content, this travel, vacation, and a little bit of photography education, hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe if you aren't already. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.